Wendy Richter. I'm gonna fuck you up.
We want Mina.
Mamacita.
Thank you, Trish.
I am Medusa, always have been Medusa, and always will be Medusa.
That too, it was gonna come out anyway.
I break bitches.
Call me
Diva. Hello and welcome to Don't Call Me Diva. We are hitting it hard, and I am Bex, and we are here to talk about the amazing world of women's wrestling currently going on in AEW and ROH. I hope you all enjoyed our first episode. It's more of an intro to this world that we will be exploring, and in it I talk about my life with wrestling and how I became the sicko I am today. I also went through the current women's roster in AEW and ROH, so if you need to catch up, please go listen to that and then hit me back over here. All right, so I'm sorry to say that we have some sad wrestling news to start off. Don't Call Me Diva. We have to tell you that Layla Hirsch is no longer with us with AEW and ROH. I mean, like, she's still alive. She's still with us. You know, she's not like passed on. But her current contract recently expired, and we say thank you so much for your service, Layla Hirsch. You are awesome, and you will go on to have an excellent career wherever you decide to go. And I hope that we get to see you soon, in a couple of years, maybe. That would be awesome. All right, so we open up today's episode with a rundown of Dynamite. We are jumping in at episode 9 of 2025. And our women's match for this episode is Deonna Purrazzo from the Vendetta versus Harley Cameron. First up, though, we get the remarkable Renee Paquette, and she has the unenviable task of interviewing Chris Jericho. Renee's hair is looking great in a stylized but messy bun and some face-framing loosey bit things. A silver chain necklace perfectly complements her silvery belt. And Renee is wearing an adorable pastel pink mesh top with butterflies. After politely knocking on Chris Jericho's door, Renee proceeds to ask her questions in her usual clear and very precise manner. When Chris Jericho rudely interrupts her by thinking he knows the true reason why Renee is here. Mic in hand, a quick yes, a change of topic, and suddenly Don Callis and Mark Davis emerge from Chris Jericho's room. Renee is taken aback by this sudden reveal, but also knows that this is going to be a good scoop. As Renee expertly maneuvers the mic between Callis and Jericho, my mind starts to wander as it does, and it suddenly occurs to me that Mark Davis is doing a damn fine Dean Ambrose impersonation. He is standing there, like, perfectly staring at me from, like, the depths of the Shield. But no, it's Mark Davis, the Australian, not Dean Ambrose, the ex-Shield member. Thanking Jericho for his time, Chris sneers at Renee while he closes the door. Renee don't care and flashes us her $1 million smile as we fade to the ring for Will Ospreay versus Brian Keith. Next in women's action, we get a Toni Storm versus Mariah May promo. We see the final flurries of the fight at Grand Slam Oz. Timeless Toni Storm victoriously standing on Brett's rope whilst holding her newly won title high. Whilst underneath, Mariah has her hands in her hair, sitting on the ground, leaning against the ring in complete shock at what has just happened. We see the ambush of Toni Storm at Collision, the woman from hell dragging the Timeless One to the stage and delivering that brutal Mayday. Taz calls Mariah vicious. Tony Schiavone looks sick, and Excalibur gives us the goss, saying the Timeless One was being kept at home and away from travel, awaiting medical evaluation. And we will find out more this Saturday in Oakland on Collision. Revolution is March 9th, and I have a small feeling it's going to be quite good. We get a strong promo package from Momo Watanabe, showing off all the brutality she has been recently doing in Stardom. No one swings a baseball bat like Momo. She's deadly with that fucking thing. Momo won the International World Cup at Wrestle Dynasty on January 5th of this year, which gave her the chance to challenge for any title, including AEW championships. Momo had to beat ROH World Champion Athena, CMLL's Persephone, who is very fucking cool, and AEW's Willow Nightingale for the opportunity. And Momo has decided to deepen her rivalry with Mercedes Moné and challenged her for her TBS title. Momo's first fight was at Forbidden Door as tag partner to Chris Statlander, but they were unsuccessful in beating Willow Nightingale and Tam Nakano, who is another legend and leader of the Cosmic Angels. At Capital Collision, Watanabe challenged Moné for her New Japan Pro Wrestling Championship, but after a very tough fight, Momo was unsuccessful in beating her. Momo is a decent threat to Mercedes Moné's gold. Her finisher is called Peach Sunrise, which is a bridging pump handle half Nelson suplex, and her B driver, which is a belly-to-belly pile driver, is also very deadly. Momo's entrance music is Dark Peach, and she has been in the Queen's Quest faction, in which Azumi and Io Shirai used to also be a part of. Now Momo's in Hate, and the faction is stacked. Almost every member is a multiple-time champion. Along with Momo Watanabe and their leader Natsuko Tora, we have my girl and current World of Stardom champion Saya Kamitani, and Konami, Thekla, Ruka, Vina, and junior member Azusa Inaba. This fight of Mercedes and Momo is going to rock, and I am so freaking pumped for it. Right after this promo, we go backstage to catch up with Four Belts Moné, who is coming out of her dressing room looking extremely happy with herself, dripping in championships. Rocking some TBS colors in her black and teal hair, the CEO is wearing a beautifully crafted wine lace bodysuit and the cutest little fluffy shrug jackety thing, and her CEO bling. It turns out that Mercedes Moné has booked out some TV time to call out Momo Watanabe and dares her to come face her backstage. Billy Starks happens to be hydrating herself off camera, and she must have caught the champ's eye because Momo was quick to drag her into this, calling her kid and asking if Billy had seen Momo around here anywhere. Being called kid broke Billy's brain, and she just stood there stunned. Momo, thinking her rude, expertly flips Stark's cup of water, splashing into Billy's face. That wakes Billy up, and as Moné goes to happily bugger off, she is stopped in her tracks by a frustrated scream from Billy Starks. Mercedes don't give no fucks about who this wet person is and does not take her seriously. Side note, Billy Starks is the former ROH World Television Women's Champion and has done heaps of cool shit over on ROH, which you can stream over on watchroh.com for about 10-ish US buckaroos a month. Mercedes is going off on Billy the kid, but Starks isn't going to let Moné talk all over her like that and get away with it without giving her a tongue lashing back, and she calls the CEO a narcissistic bitch. It turns out that Momo Watanabe was actually in the building and has started to come up to Moné from behind, wielding her trusty baseball bat. Billy Starks makes quite the literal quip about Mercedes watching her back, and when a confused Moné looks behind her, she sees Momo standing right there. Mercedes shits a brick and hightails it out of there, dropping her TBS championship in the process. Momo takes this opportunity to get her hands on the gold she is challenging for, and Billy tells her that the belt looks great on Momo. Then Starks looks dead at the camera and gives us her best school portrait face for about 3 very awkward seconds. After an in-ring promo from Skirt Skirt and Aha! The remarkable Renee Paquette catches up with Hangman Adam Page as he is leaving the building. Renee is asking for Hangman's thoughts as he turns to face Renee, mad as hell, and delivers... I put a weird emphasis on that, sorry. I'm going to go back to Renee. Renee is asking for Hangman's thoughts, and he turns to face her. Mad as hell, he delivers his warning to MJF, sweaty and half-naked. It seems vehicular manslaughter is in MJF's future. Renee is concerned but helpless to stop Hangman and his murderous plan. She's just here for those juicy scoops, to be honest. Next up in women's wrestling is Marina Shafir and the rest of the Death Riders attacking Cope with chairs. Cope is on a murder quest of the Death Riders, and Claudio is his next target. Claudio and fucking Yuta get real close to giving Cope the death blow of the concerto, but Jay White suddenly appears and makes a distraction Cope needed to get to his feet. With a chair in hand, Cope starts whacking the Death Riders, eventually getting Claudio down and onto the mat. While Cope focuses on the concerto he's about to give to Claudio's head, he has failed to notice Marina Shafir stalking him from the outside of the ring. Marina gets into the ring and pounces onto Cope's back and wraps her forearm around Cope's neck for a very tight rear chokehold. Fucking Yuta thought he would be special and do a psycho loco psycho knee to Cope while he was struggling with Marina. But Cope manages to shake Marina off before the psycho knee can connect and pushes Marina into the path of fucking Yuta. Marina got every ounce of that psycho knee and went down hard. Jay White found this hilarious and puts fucking Yuta down with a Blade Runner, which, by the way, is a swinging reverse STO. So now Marina and Claudio are unconscious in the middle of the ring. Claudio is already dead from a concerto he received, and it looks like it might now be Marina's turn. But will it really be Cope to deliver the final blow to Shafir's head? The crowd is going extra nuts all of a sudden because John Moxley has finally shown up to the crowd barrier. Mox is panicking about the thought of his bodyguard, Marina Shafir, being taken out with a concerto, but he doesn't jump the barrier to stop it. I bet Mox thought Cope was far too good of heart to actually concerto Marina, but all of a sudden, the hero of the locker room's music hit and Mox visibly shits himself as Willow storms down to the ring. Willow is 100% sick of Marina's shit, and the crowd has gone rabid. Willow takes the chair from Cope, swings it high above her head, and brings it down on Marina for a devastating concerto. The sickos erupt with joy. Cue the music, namaste, and Cope asks Willow if that felt good, to which Willow seems to reply yes to, but there is still rage boiling up inside of Willow from all of the injustices the Death Riders have caused. Side note, I would just like to point out that the Great Mox was held off by one lone, frothy, but very talented and dangerous Kiwi with a steel chair. Very proud. Umeke kia kaha. Next up on Dynamite for women's action is Harley! The lights go down and Harley's on the Titantron singing her entrance theme. With a spin and flick of her hair, we pan down to the live Harley in her big shawl thingy and her holographic gear from Grand Slam Oz, which looks super cool. It has a whole bunch of straps everywhere and holographic panels that make me very happy. With a lick of her thumb and a whip of her hair, Harley pumps up the crowd and connects with every single, probably, every sicko inside of the arena. Once Harley has entered the ring, she peruses the crowd before climbing the ropes to get a better view of her sickos. There must have been a few feel the wrath signs out there because we can see Harley pointing them out with pride. Diana Perazzo music hits and we are transformed to the backstage as we look through the holes in the set of an awaiting Perazzo. Diana gives us a no bullshit look and waves us off before turning her back to the camera and walks out to the ring. I am a big fan of this entrance and it reminds me of Pac's entrance before he joined the Death Riders, how like the camera used to follow him through the little circles they have in the background thing. It's fucking cool. Diana is in all black with diamantes covering her outfit. Her jacket is a black mesh with puffy black and white pattern sleeves and a big black ruff. Diana is wearing a black tiered ruffle half skirt tied around her waist and it flows behind her as she stomps to the ring with purpose. Diana gets to the ring and takes her place in the center of it with a spin and takes a strong look at my magnificence pose. Harley looks a bit like Mox did when Willow's music played, but Harley shakes it off and prepares for the belt. Diana stretches and then the two women circle each other to find that secret spot for the lockup. Diana looks like she's going in for a collar and elbow tie-up, but instead uses her strength to shove Cameron to the mat. Harley lands on her face as her arms have been tangled up with Diana's, and Perazzo is very proud of her little ruse and grabs Harley by the hair whilst talking smack. Harley is fighting back, and while Diana has her hair in a grip, Harley is punching at Diana, and a few land in Perazzo's gut, which starts to piss her off. With a hefty knee to Harley's abdomen, Diana attempts to whip Harley into the corner, but Harley pulls out some quick footwork and reverses the attack, sending Diana into the corner herself. But Deanna has been counted many a time before and was quickly able to put her foot on the bottom rope to turn and face Harley for a running attack. Harley sees this coming and goes for a lariat, but Deanna quickly ducks underneath Harley's arm and with ease turns to face Harley again. With some quick fake-outs that trick Harley into going for her front leg, Deanna is able to lure her in and she makes Harley pay for her rookie mistake. Deanna smirks at the crowd, pleased with her handiwork, and then slams Harley's head back into the mat. Now, the crowd knows Deanna's badass, but they are not happy with these arrogant games and boo her appropriately. While Harley clutches at the back of her head, trying to shake out the cobwebs, Deanna does her signature kicking of the dirt in her opponent's face while flipping the crowd off in her Italian way. Harley starts to get to her feet, but Deanna is on her and she hefts Harley onto her shoulders with malicious intent. Harley has regained her senses and starts elbowing Deanna's ear, neck, and the back of her head, causing Deanna to loosen her grip, and she releases Harley back down to the mat. Harley pushes Deanna to the ropes to set her up for a wheelbarrow turned arm drag, and we get a little peek at Taya Valkyrie watching backstage on telly. Not only is Taya the other member of the Vendetta, but it was Valkyrie who lost to Harley, giving Harley her first ever win. Taya must surely be plotting some sort of revenge for this. Back down to the match, and Harley's arm drag has sent Deanna into the far corner, but Deanna was quick to recover again, and she has pivoted to come full speed at Harley, who was ready for the attack. Deanna ended up running right into another arm drag, but once again was quick to recover, and this time Deanna was a bit more madder about it than before. Deanna's right arm gets caught by Harley, and she is quickly whipped around. Harley tries to pull Deanna into a headlock, but Deanna is able to twist her body away from Harley's body while bringing Harley's arm with her. Harley is spun around, and now her right arm is at the mercy of Donna Perazzo. With Harley's right arm now belonging to Deanna, Deanna tries to drag Harley down to the mat, but Harley manages to fight through the pain and ninja rolls out of Deanna's grasp. Deanna stands back and allows Harley to recover, feeling in her arm while taunting Cameron that she almost hit her. Harley's felt the vice-like grip of Deanna now, and instead of backing down, she takes it on board and prepares for battle again. The women lock up, and Deanna quickly knees Harley in the gut, and Harley doubles over with pain. Deanna expertly puts Harley in a side headlock and proceeds to lead Harley around the ring by her head again. Harley shoves Deanna off her, and Deanna hits the ropes, running back at Harley, who quickly hits the deck. Deanna bounds over a speed bump Harley and proceeds to bask in her own glory, to which the crowd boos appropriately again. Deanna has stopped underestimating Harley and stops hot dogging to turn around and face Harley. Harley sprints at Deanna, who sidesteps Harley and bounces off the ropes. Deanna grabs Harley for what may have turned into a backbreaker, but Deanna didn't count on Harley going for a spinning head scissors, and Deanna was spun in a 360 by Harley's momentum and taken down to the mat. Deanna is tough and was able to get herself together and go on the attack with an intended lariat, but Harley was quick to grab Deanna's arm and twisted her around for a neckbreaker in the center of the ring. Harley went for the first cover of the match, but Deanna was able to kick out at 2. Deanna wasn't able to recover as quickly as she had to Harley's other attacks, but Harley didn't capitalize on this and instead took the time to catch her breath and shake the feeling back into her arm, which is important, but it was enough time for Deanna to regain some stamina, and as she was being whipped into the corner by Harley, Deanna reversed it and Harley hit the corner turnbuckle hard. Deanna sized her up and charged, but Harley was quick and slipped through the top and middle rope, so she was now facing Deanna, which is important, but it was enough time for Deanna to regain some stamina, and as she was being whipped into the corner by Harley, Deanna reversed it and Harley hit the corner turnbuckle hard. Deanna sized her up and charged, but Harley was quick and slipped between the middle and top rope, so she was now face to face with Deanna. Harley blocked the punch coming straight to her face and sent a high kick right back at Deanna that got her on the side of the head, sending her straight into the center of the ring. That kick by Harley did some damage, and Deanna was doubled over, rubbing her jaw. Harley took this moment to climb the corner to the top rope, but with lightning speed, Deanna runs at Harley's right leg, knocking it out from underneath her, and Harley tumbles down to the mat. With a look of pure menace, Deanna runs at Harley and pump kicks Harley in the head with the heel of her boot. Harley collapses heavily to the apron and lands on her back, dazed. Deanna takes a few moments to gloat, but does not take her eyes off Harley. As soon as Deanna sees that Harley is trying to walk it off on the outside, she bounces off the ropes, runs at Harley, and baseball slide kicks Harley right in the head, causing her to go flying. Deanna feels more satisfied now with Harley's incapacitation, and this time she takes a moment to lean against the ring, telling us to all feck off. Harley is in a bad way, and she still hasn't gotten off the ground and seems to be having a lot of pain in her right arm and shoulder. Deanna helps Harley to her feet by grabbing her head and slams her head into the ring with force. Harley is flung down to the ground and tries to crawl to safety, but with Deanna Perrazzo, there is no safety. Deanna comes up on Harley again, dragging her around the outside and slams Harley's head into the ring once again. This time, Harley hits her jaw real bad, and you can see her wincing when she touches it. Deanna is in her element and delivers a nasty chop to Harley's chest. The ref looms over them, reminding them that they have until 10 to get their asses back into the ring. Deanna throws Harley back into the ring as the ref hits 7, and Harley struggles to get to her feet, but is unsuccessful. Deanna grabs Harley by the hair, whips her around for a hard short lariat, and takes Harley back down to the mat. Deanna goes for a cover, but doesn't secure Harley's leg well enough, and Harley is able to use them to give herself some extra oomph to kick out at 2. Deanna gives the ref a look that I definitely would not want to receive, but the crowd are loud, cheering Harley on. Deanna regroups and goes to lift Harley up by the hair, but Harley is fired up by the crowd and delivers a heavy forearm to Deanna's face. Deanna is rocked, and Harley manages to land 5 more forearm shots to Deanna's head. Deanna is breathing heavy and slightly doubled down, so Harley runs to the ropes for momentum. Deanna isn't damaged enough, though, and she runs down Harley, causing Harley to catapult her own face into Deanna's elbow. Harley is now hurting and in the middle of the ring, while Deanna makes enemies with the crowd. Deanna is incredibly proud of herself and basks in the glory of the boos that rain down upon her. Harley crawls to Brett's rope and tries to use its healing power. Deanna tries to help by coming up to Harley from behind and leaning on the back of her neck with her shin, pushing Harley's neck into Brett's healing rope of power deeper, choking Harley. Deanna is pissed that the ref has the audacity to make the 5 count that forces Deanna to release her leg from Harley's neck. Thinking of nothing but pain, Deanna forces Harley face first back into the top turnbuckle. Harley turns to face Deanna, but Deanna has Harley stuck in the corner of the ring, and the ref is once again counting to 5. Deanna considers the consequences of laying hands on the ref for a second before deciding to focus on Harley and goes to give her a sharp chop to the chest. Harley's like, fuck that, ducks Deanna's incoming chop and pushes Deanna into the corner, where she gives her 3 rapid-fire chops to the chest. Harley goes to whip Deanna into the opposite corner, but Deanna counters it again and tries to do the same thing back to Harley, but Harley then reverses Deanna's reverse and sends Deanna finally crashing into the corner. Deanna also has a case of the fuck nose and boots Harley in the face as she's running full speed at her. The force of the kick sends Harley back into the center of the ring, and once again she reaches for her jaw. Deanna is hella mad now and brings down a heavy forearm shot to Harley's back, causing Harley to crumple to the mat. Deanna goes down for a lazy but sexy pin, mean mugging the sickos at home, while the ref, Chris Knox, pounds the mat for the count. He only gets to 2 as Harley is able to kick out. Deanna doesn't fuck around this time and wraps her arm around Harley's left arm. Deanna is a submission specialist and wants to make Harley's arm as weak as possible so she can get the double Fujiwara armbar Deanna calls the Venus de Milo on her. With Harley's arm in her control, Deanna forces Harley onto her belly and puts her knee into the shoulder of Harley, putting immense pressure onto the joint. Still holding onto Harley's left arm, Deanna manipulates her again with another takedown that causes Harley to painfully rotate. Releasing her arm, Deanna now goes for a headlock, and Harley is once again fighting for air on the mat. To make matters worse for Harley, Deanna switches it up and hits Harley in the ribs, then gets her with a knee, but the shot seems to motivate Harley, and she positions herself perfectly underneath Deanna's chin and drops down to her knees for a stunning jawbreaker. Deanna doubles over with pain. Harley races to the ropes, but Deanna manages to get herself focused and chases Harley down, meeting her at the ropes and catches Harley in the jaw with a forearm. Deanna turns around and runs to the opposite ropes, but Harley isn't out, and now it's Harley who chases down Deanna, meeting her at the ropes with a heavy clothesline. Harley leaves Deanna hanging on the ropes and goes to the opposite ropes for some extra momentum, but Deanna was paying... Oh, shit. No, she wasn't. She wasn't paying possums. She was playing possum. No, she wasn't even blossoming on possums. Fuck me. I try and recover and it doesn't even work. She was playing possum, okay? And charges at Harley and gets her in the gut with a spin kick. Deanna is a 13-year vet and her stamina is tough to combat. Deanna hits the ropes, runs at Harley, and knees her in the face before Russian leg sweeping her to the ground. Deanna tries for a pin, but Harley kicks out at 2. Both women take a moment to catch their breath this time and think about what their next move will be. The crowd takes this moment to pump them both up, and it's Deanna who first gets to her feet. Deanna picks Harley up and places her upside down on the top rope. Harley's feet are caught underneath the top turnbuckle and she is unable to free herself. Deanna sets herself up in the opposite corner with nothing but pain in mind for Harley. Deanna lines her up and charges at Harley, but Harley has managed to free her left leg and cracks Deanna on the top of her head with a foot. Deanna is rocked. Harley flips to her feet, lures Deanna in, and nails her with a back elbow to the jaw. Deanna comes in again, and Harley blocks her attack, repeatedly hitting Deanna in the face with her forearm. Deanna pushes her back, but Harley pulls on the brakes and pushes past Deanna, causing Deanna to have to turn and face her again. Harley only needs this moment of time to set up for an enziguri and clocks Deanna across the jaw with her foot. Deanna is brought down to her knees and collapses on all fours while Harley screams, "Feel the wrath!" Harley takes off at full speed, hitting the ropes and slams Deanna, hitting her with a shining wizard. Sidebar? There is something about the name Shining Wizard that makes my eyes roll. I don't know why it bothers me so much, but every time I hear the word Shining Wizard, I'm like, couldn't have thought of a better name. Anyway, totally me. Moving on. Harley goes for the pin, but Deanna kicks out at 2. As Harley takes some time to catch her breath and check the mobility in her right arm, Deanna tries to get up. Harley grabs Deanna around the neck and helps her to her feet. Harley kicks Deanna in the gut and attempts a bulldog, but Deanna pushes her off. As the two women face each other, Deanna pump kicks Harley right in the mush, causing Harley to hit the deck. Deanna can taste victory and deadlifts Harley into a vicious powerbomb, slamming Harley high onto her shoulders. But this will prove to be her undoing, as placing Harley so high upon her own shoulders meant that during the pin, Harley had leverage for a kick out. Deanna managed to keep a grip on Harley's left arm as she was kicking out of the pin, and Deanna put her straight into an armbar. Deanna wrenches back on Harley's arm, but this also is her undoing because Harley is so nimble that she is able to use Deanna's weight against her and rolls Deanna up for a pin, forcing Deanna to have to relinquish the hold or get counted out. Deanna now goes to Brett's healing rope of power and gets to her feet, attempting to clothesline Cameron, but Harley has a new trick up her sleeve. With a battle cry from her depths, Harley performs a swinging net breaker to Deanna, knocking her cold long enough to get a 3 count. The crowd goes absolutely bananas. The ref raises Harley's battered arm in victory. Deanna is recovering the ring and is clearly pissed. The vendetta might just have a vendetta now against Miss Harley Cameron. To end our women's coverage on Dynamite, we see that Cope and Willow and Jay White are being good Samaritans and making sure Claudio and Marina get off safely in the ambulance. Now, that was a fucking brilliant Dynamite. I really enjoyed that. Not only were the women's segments and the women's matches like really entertaining, but you know, the boys did a good showing as well. You know, golf clap to everyone. It's time for Collision, and I am excited because we get a promo from Julia Hart with Brody King from the Hounds of Hell. Julia is calling out the one and only herself, Queen Aminata. With a happy smirk on her face, Julia Hart assures Queen Aminata that the heart always wins. Okada bumbles out of his dressing room right at this moment, and I think he might have some future troubles with Brody King. But that's for someone else's podcast. The CEO, Mercedes Moné, is here, and she is not playing around this time. She is all business. Our CEO is in a two-tone fluffy shrug jackety thingy and a gorgeous black bodysuit, business shades, and her CEO bling, but only 3 of her championships. Monet seems to be missing an important piece of gold. Does Momo still have possession of her TBS title? Our questions are quickly answered, for before Monet can even finish her introduction, she comes upon a wild Billy Starks, who has the TBS title belt in her hands. Mercedes is like, "Bitch, give me my belt," and quickly takes it off Starks, cradling it in her arms and giving it a welfare check. Billy Starks was not there by accident, and she has a message for Monet from Momo. Momo asks that Mercedes enjoys her TBS championship because at Revolution, Momo is going to take it from her. Billy Starks had a bit of payback in mind too and threw her cup of cold tea in the face of the CEO and walks away. This might have been a mistake because Mercedes is now furious, and I don't think Billy Starks can take on the CEO. Goodness gracious. Our next promo is brought to you by the Timeless One herself. Direct from her hospital bed, our brave hero makes her statement. Timeless Toni Storm looks delicate yet regal in her white silk robe. With her hair uncurled and in a neck brace, Timeless Toni Storm fights through the pain and with a croaky voice delivers the line, "Darling, let's get lucid." Toni tells us what the last week has been like for her. The people wondering if she will ever walk again. Has this all been worth it? Her 15-year-long slog in the wrestling industry, only to now be plagued by a woman who, in Toni's own words, won't let her wake up? Whatever that means. And we know Toni. She doesn't say anything lightly. So what exactly is Mariah May not letting Timeless Toni Storm wake up from? But Timeless Toni Storm will not lay down for anyone and says that if Mariah wants her world title, she can take it from her cold, dead hips. After taunting Mariah some more, Timeless Toni Storm raises herself up a little to enhance the seriousness of her words and tells Mariah that Oz was just foreplay. That's the first time I've heard that. If you want a Hollywood ending, well, so do I. Timeless Toni Storm then lays down her challenge. No DQ. Falls count anywhere in the building. Timeless Toni Storm has one last thing to say to the woman from hell. And while ripping off her neck brace, she asks Mariah if she believes in God, for soon she will be meeting her. End scene. Revolution, once again, is March 9th, people. Let's fucking go! When we get back from the break, we see that Harley Cameron has joined the commentary desk. It seems she would like to have a little chat about her match on Dynamite. We get a little recap, and Harley points out that the commentators never mentioned the name of the spinning neck breaker Harley used to defeat Deonna. My heart jumps a little as I have been dying to know what Harley's new finisher is called. No one knew, and it was driving me nuts. I was even going to put it out to you all to see if anyone had an answer. Nigel, of course, wasn't there and instantly slides himself verbally out of trouble, but Tony Schiavone had no such luck. But instead of blasting Tony, Harley simply wants some help naming her new finishing move, and it so happens that Tony had the perfect name for it. So Harley Cameron's finisher now has its name, and she could not be happier about it. She thanks Tony for his wonderful suggestion and celebrates with a "Feel the wrath!" It's called her finishing move, by the way. Her finisher, the spinning net breaker, is called her finishing move. All right. Alicia Atu is backstage interviewing the Cookie Boom guys. Alicia looks classically gorgeous with her hair up, makeup on point, gold necklaces that go great with her skin tone, and a princess cut brown dress with a chain belt. The dress has a cool pattern on it, but I don't have the fashion words to describe it other than it looked great on her. Johnny TV barges into Father Boom, and those two have a thing, and staying reporter neutral, Alicia keeps out of it, and Alicia expertly captures the smack talk. Well done. Finally, the lights are down, and Julia Hart's music hits. Finally, the lights are down and Julia Hart's music hits. Julia is in her black and red and silver gear with her dark avant-garde ring jacket and walks to the ring after singing the iconic line, "The heart always wins." Julia's slow walk to the ring is in perfect step with the music. This song is so fucking cool. Once Hart is in the ring, she climbs to the middle rope perfectly between the two ring posts and does her pose. With the length of Julia's jacket hanging down to the mat and her arms raised to her shoulders, Julia looks like she is floating on a black mist. It is so fucking cool. But soon the mood is taken over by the funky beat of Queen Aminata's music. Queen Aminata's entrance theme is perfect for Dirty Dancing. The one and only comes out in a beautiful white lace cloak and fern crown. Her gear is a colorful two-piece in blue and orange and gold with matching arm sleeves. Queen Aminata is never low on confidence, and she has every right to be. She is strong, fast, and smart in the ring. But who is this? A wild Serena Deeb, cutting a promo to Queen Aminata, but not to fight her? but to remind her of some sort of game plan. Has Queen Aminata been given some new tricks from the professor? I have questions. Queen Aminata gets into the ring quickly and the bell rings. Both women are in opposite corners but have completely different expressions. Julia Hart looks ready to play with her food, and Queen Aminata looks back with mild amusement at her arrogance. The two women lock up, and Queen Aminata forces Julia to the corner, which is to her detriment because this breaks the hold, and Queen Aminata must then give Hart some space, which she does. With a very satisfied grin on her face, Queen Aminata backs away, allowing Julia to meet her again in the center of the ring. They lock up, and this time Julia gets the upper hand with a knee to the gut. Queen Aminata doubles over, and Hart gets her into a side headlock, absolutely wrenching on Queen Aminata's head. These two women are going to squeeze each other's head off so much in this fucking match. I really hope the two of them are okay. Queen Aminata is able to use her right foot to buckle Julia's knee down to the mat. Queen Aminata then twists Julia's arm, stepping over it to administer some bootylicious time onto the back of Julia's skull. Stepping over again, Queen Aminata grabs Julia's head in a front face lock, then quickly changes to a side headlock and takes Julia down to the mat. Still in the side headlock, but now Queen Aminata's body weight is pinning her down to the ground, making her vulnerable to a 3 count. Julia uses her strong legs to shimmy out of the one and only's grasp, but ends up having to kick out of a pin attempt. This at least moves Queen Aminata off of Julia's body so that she is able to get to her feet, still in the side headlock, but with a bit more space to deliver some shots to the gut of Queen Aminata. The third forearm breaks Queen Aminata's grip, and Julia quickly gets Queen Aminata into a side headlock of her own. Queen Aminata uses her strong arms to push Julia Hart's jaw away from her, forcing Hart's neck into a bad angle. This brings Hart to a knee, and Queen Aminata quickly takes control of Julia's left arm so she cannot use it, and puts Julia's head into her vice grip once again. Julia forces herself and Queen Aminata to their feet, but Queen Aminata is quick to hip toss Hart back down to the mat, once again applying a side headlock while pinning Julia underneath her. It really does seem that Queen Aminata has been spending a lot of time in the fucking Serena Deeb's dojo. This time, Julia's arms are free, though, and she is able to push on Queen Aminata's face until the one and only lets go. Julia was quick to put Queen Aminata in a head scissors, but she easily powered out of it and rolled out of reach. Both women get to their feet, stare at each other for a moment before getting ready to engage again in combat. They lock up, and this time neither woman can get the upper hand until Julia gives 2 stiff kicks to Queen Aminata's midsection. Gathering momentum from the ropes, Julia flies at Queen Aminata and lands a spinning head scissor takeover, or tieres. Queen Aminata is catapulted into the corner. Julia charges at her, and Queen Aminata hits hard. No, she doesn't. Julia Hart charges at her and hits Queen Aminata hard. With a satisfied smile to us at home, Julia runs to the next turnbuckle to gather up speed and hits Queen Aminata with a back elbow and pretty much slams Queen Aminata with her entire body. Julia throws Queen Aminata into the center of the ring. Queen Aminata ninja rolls, but is quickly caught behind by Hart, who instantly tries to pin her. Queen Aminata is in no way done and kicks out at 1. While Queen Aminata tries to assess the damage to her lower back, Julia wraps her left forearm around the one and only's neck, speaking what can only be demonic incantations into the Queen's ear. Queen Aminata is like, fuck that noise, and slips out of Julia's grasp with a stiff elbow to Hart's gut. Julia must have avoided the second one and gotten control of Queen Aminata's arm, because soon Queen Aminata was whipped into the ropes with Julia coming straight at her. As Queen Aminata hit the ropes, she was met by Hart's forearm. When Julia ran to the opposite ropes for momentum, Queen Aminata was right behind her, ready to hit Hart with a forearm of her own. Julia took a heavy shot to the chest, but was not out. Queen Aminata ran to the opposite ropes to get herself some speed, but hadn't counted on Julia being able to run up on her and serve her another portion of prime beef forearm. Queen Aminata is tough and took the heavy shot well, chasing down Hart and buckling her knee with a heavy chop. Julia went down and wasn't able to defend herself as Queen Aminata took her foot in hand and repeatedly lifted Julia's leg and slammed her knee into the mat. While she does this, the commentators Nigel and Tony ponder if this might have been some of the tricks taught to her by the professor Serena Deeb. Queen Aminata stands over Julia, looking down upon her as if she were nothing, watching Julia grab her knee in pain with pride. It's taking a while for Julia Hart to recover, and Queen Aminata is able to again take control of the left leg of Hart and kicks her twice, brutally in the back of the knee. Holy frickin' fraggles, my own leg gave out when I saw that. No, thank you very much. This is why I talk about wrestling and not engage in combat. Queen Aminata wraps her arm around the left leg of Julia's and used the force of her body, hitting the mat to wrench down on Hart's knee, causing her even more pain. Queen Aminata has created a weakness, and now she will attempt to capitalize on that weakness. Queen Aminata goes for a pin, but Julia is still able to kick out at 2. Julia tries to get the feeling back into her knee whilst also trying to avoid Queen Aminata, but is unsuccessful in both. Queen Aminata grabs a handful of Julia's hair and performs an excellent snap suplex that sends Julia flying to the opposite side of the ring. Julia does not get a moment to breathe before Queen Aminata grabs Hart's damaged left leg and twists it around Brett's healing rope of power. Julia is screaming in agony, but will the power of Brett's rope recharge her batteries? I thought Queen Aminata was backing off, but she was just running to the ropes for extra momentum so she could drop kick Julia's knee that was still draped over the third rope. This caused Julia Hart to scream out with agony, and Queen Aminata dragged her by her damaged leg into the middle of the ring for another pin attempt. Julia kicked out at 2, but it was weaker than before. Queen Aminata looked tired herself, but mainly frustrated, and she slapped Julia hard on the back. The one and only got to her feet and went straight back to her target, Julia's left leg. Queen Aminata positioned Hart's leg so she could come down hard on Hart's knee with her own. Julia is pinned while Queen Aminata kneels on her damaged knee. She can only try and fight Queen Aminata off, but Queen Aminata has the upper hand and gives Hart a stiff forearm for the face. Queen Aminata is not letting Hart's knee get any rest as she delivers another knee to the back of Julia's leg. Dragging Hart around by the foot, Queen hits her again with another devastating knee to her severely damaged leg at this point. Just for kicks, Queen Aminata then lines Julia's leg up and football kicks the back of her leg. If Queen Aminata hadn't been holding onto Julia's foot, she would have been in the rafters. Julia beats at the mat to get some focus because Queen Aminata is circling in fast, and before Julia can get up, Queen Aminata is already putting knees to Julia's ribs. After 2 shots, Queen Aminata pins Julia's chest to the mat and puts Hart into a single leg Boston Crab, wrenching deeply on Julia's fucked left leg. Like, that woman's got to be in some serious pain. And if she wasn't before, she definitely would have been now, because after that, Queen Aminata pulls on Julia's arm so she is in a downward dog type pose. Then Queen Aminata kicks Julia Hart square in the back of the head. Then the one and only does the dumbest thing out of the blue. She pins Julia Hart on the mat with only her foot on Hart's chest. That was never meant to work, but more send Julia a message that it is now Queen Aminata that is playing with her food. Queen Aminata goes back on the attack and works on Julia's neck a bit more, squeezing her until she gasps for air, while leaning on Julia's back for extra torture. Queen Aminata wraps her long legs around Julia's waist, pulls her arms behind her back, getting Julia set up for a nasty-looking lotus lock. Julia is flexible, but Queen Aminata uses her strength to repeatedly bash Hart's face into the mat while still having her in the lotus lock. Queen Aminata pulls back but leans back too far, and Julia is able to use this leverage to tip Queen Aminata onto her back, forcing her to relinquish the hold or get pinned. Queen Aminata is straight back to Julia's neck, but Hart is fighting back. Hitting her in the gut, then stunning the Queen with a double chop to the chest, the Queen is mad and swings wildly at Julia Hart, who easily avoids the shot, thank goodness. Julia hits Queen Aminata with multiple forearm shots that seem to wear the one and only down. Still stumbling, though, on her damaged leg, Julia uses the ropes for more oomph and runs at Queen Aminata for a heavy-hitting lariat. The queen cannot believe the fight is still in Julia and goes to retaliate, but Hart hits her again with a heavy lariat. Julia uses the ropes again, and once again Queen Aminata swings wildly, and Hart ducks under her arm and grabs Queen Aminata from behind in a waistlock. The one and only has been working with Dee, so easily performs a standing switch and puts Hart in a waistlock of her own. Queen Aminata hefts Julia up to perform a power move, but Julia is slippery and she instantly forward rolls underneath Queen Aminata, flipping her down to the mat and onto her back. Julia sits down on Queen Aminata's chest and locks her legs in place, but Queen Aminata is able to kick out before 3. Julia fakes taking a breather in the corner, and Queen Aminata races at her for an attack. With Julia's plan a success, she sidesteps the one and only and runs to the ropes. With the challenge of a battle cry, Queen Aminata runs out of the corner to meet Hart, but Hart has a present of pain for the queen and hits her in the chest with a flying double axe handle. Julia hits the queen again with a double axe handle. Queen Aminata really felt that second one and mistakenly gave up her arm to Julia, who uses it to keep the queen in place whilst chop slamming her down into the mat. The queen is flat on her back while Julia delivers her standing moonsault into the pin. Queen Aminata is hurt, but she is still able to kick out at 2. Julia is visibly pissed that didn't work, and a look of pure evil determination comes over her face. Julia takes control of Queen Aminata's right arm and locks it between her legs. Queen Aminata knows what Julia is trying to do. Julia is attempting to put the queen in her devastating submission, heartless. Queen Aminata desperately tries to fight the move being locked in, but Julia Hart is a specialist and she has worked tirelessly to perform this move. Hart locks it in. Queen Aminata is in immense pain but won't tap out. Instead, she uses strength in her legs to seesaw her body towards Hart and manages to get Julia on her back for a pin. Hart has no choice but to release the hold and escapes the pin at 2. This time, it is Queen Aminata who pounds on Hart's chest with a double chop. Julia is hurt and this time goes to the corner to rest for real. Queen Aminata bazookas herself at Julia but runs right into Hart's feet, and Julia slams Queen Aminata down to the mat hard. Positioning the queen precisely where she wants her, Julia stomps her in the gut and makes sure she stays there. Julia steps up onto Brett's healing rope of power on her way to the top, hoping to gain a little health back as she sets herself up for what might have been a moonsault into a double stomp. But when Julia lands, there's no Queen Aminata under her feet. Queen Aminata had managed to get to her feet and hit Julia smack bang in the middle of her forehead with a hefty headbutt. Julia is rocked and falls down to the mat, leaning against the bottom rope. Queen Aminata bounces off the opposite ropes and sprints towards Julia, nailing her dead in the face with a nasty-looking running knee. Queen Aminata drags Julia's unconscious body to the middle of the ring by the legs, rolls her up for the pin. 1, 2, 3, and Queen Aminata wins the match while staring down the camera. Queen Aminata scoffs at her opponent, turns to her adoring fans, and starts blowing kisses as she leaves Julia laying in the ring. Brody King comes down to check on his teammate because he's a good cunt. But it seems like Okada has been keeping tabs on Brody and sneaks up on King, absolutely nailing Brody in the face with his Continental title bout. Both members of the Hounds of Hell are down, while Okada barks and gives us the finger. All right, now we hit ROH, and it's the 27th of the second episode of ROH. This is my first watching of an ROH show as well. So I am super excited to go through this with everybody. It's the debut of La Catarina from CMLL, and she is versing Lady Frost in the second match of the night on Card. La Catalina's theme is a self-titled theme, but I couldn't find out who made it. So if you know, please leave it in the comments. I would really appreciate it because I'm a nosy motherfucker. This is my first time seeing La Caterina, and I am in love. Her music is an absolute bop, and La Caterina shimmies her way to the ring with a very contagious smile. My eyes lit up, and I couldn't stop smiling the whole time. La Caterina has gorgeous dark and pink chocolate hair, and her makeup is on point, as they all are. I want those sparkly silver hopes that she is wearing because they are insane. They're like huge and they're just so sparkly that they blind you. Fucking love tack. And her gear is also super cute. La Catalina is wearing a one piece with white sleeves and decal, pink around the collar and lining of the front zipper. The rest of it is black and she looks divine. Ooh, bit break. La Catalina bounces up to the third rope to address her adoring fans and is humbled by their love and adoration. Another little shimmy for the fans before the wolf's howl of Lady Frost's entrance music hits. We go over... Oh, no, sorry. We went over Lady Frost's finisher and theme in episode 1, which is, funnily enough, the episode directly before this one. So if you haven't heard it by now, you know what to listen to next. But hurry back because episode 3 will be out before you can even blink. And it's going to be awesome. I haven't written it, but it's going to be fucking awesome. Lady Frost's music is dark and epic with a sense of journeying being taken somewhere dark and cold. Lady Frost herself comes out in her white cloak with a giant fuck-off wolf's head on her shoulders. She is wearing an all-silver one-piece with cool cutouts showing off her abs and bosoms. Lady Frost looks super cool, and I freaking love her. Sidebar, you'll hear that a lot. I don't give a fuck. I fucking love women's wrestling. Basically, everyone I talk about, there will probably be some aside of, oh, she's so fucking cool. Because she is so fucking cool. Unless she's a dick. And then she probably still is fucking cool. Lady Frost's hair is as black as coal with 2 perfectly white streaks on either side. Lady Frost is feeling sexy and confident as she shimmies out of her cloak and shows off her impressive biceps and back muscles. The woman is fucking stacked. Lady Frost turns to the crowd with a big smile and pumps them up even more, raising the energy in the room. La Catalina and Lady Frost meet each other in the ring and shake hands as is tradition. The bell rings and we're off. The women circle each other briefly before engaging in a quick lockup where both women tried to get the upper hand, but instead ended up doing the power version of putting 2 magnets together the wrong way. And they bounce back off each other. Both women seem to respect the strength of each other and prepare to lock up again. This time, Katerina goes for the quickness over strength and gains control of Frost's arm, twisting her around, locking her fingers around Frost's waist and toe trips her to the mat, face first. Lady Frost manages to protect her face from impact, but La Caterina still has her arms locked around her waist and is ragdolling Frost to the mask. No, she's not ragdolling Frost to the mask. She's ragdolling Frost to the mat, making it difficult for Frost to recover. La Caterina gets control of Lady Frost's left arm and pulls it under herself while forward rolling over Lady Frost, forcing Lady Frost to go with her. Lady Caterina pins Lady Frost to the mat, but it's not enough to keep the Ice Queen of Murder Gymnastics down, and Frost has plenty of core strength to push herself out of the pin with ease. The women back off from each other, with Lady Frost giving La Caterina a cheeky little smile and a shake of her finger, implying that it wasn't going to happen that easily. La Caterina's like, well, shit, and prepares for plan 2. Caterina lures Lady Frost into another lockup, but instead of engaging, La Caterina wraps her right leg around Frost's left like a snake, which brings Frost crashing to the mat. La Caterina flips Frost over onto her front, having complete control over both of Lady Frost's legs. La Caterina manipulates Frost's legs into a figure 4 shape before wrenching them back towards Frost's own butt. Lady Catalina then quickly goes for Frost's head to put her in a front face lock, but Frost wasn't bothered and was already getting to her feet whilst gaining control of Catalina's right arm. It was Catalina's turn to be twisted to the mat, and while on her back, Frost tries to go for a quick pin. It was quick in the opposite way, with La Catalina only needing 1 count to kick out. It was a strong kick out and sent Frost flying off of her. Lady Frost was quick to recover, though, and now the pace was rapid, with Catalina quickly taking Frost down to the mat with a sweep of the legs, and then went for her own quick pin. But Frost didn't even give her one count and had forced Catalina off her before the ref Aubrey could even start to count the pin. The two women take a moment of mutual respect, and the crowd shows their respect for these two talented warriors in the ring. Catalina is chuffed, and Lady Frost is fucking pumped. Lady Frost's gear is so shiny that I had to take a moment of appreciation and completely zoned out. After that was done, the two women ramp into gear. Lady Frost sprints at Catalina, who avoids her and hits the deck for a speed bump. Frost bounces off the ropes, avoids Catalina's attempt to trip her up, and runs to the opposite rope for more momentum. Catalina gets up in enough time to leapfrog over an incoming Frost. Frost ninja rolls under Catalina, hits the ropes, and narrowly misses Catalina's attempt to monkey flip her by diving over Catalina's legs. Frost turns. Catalina tries to get her with a short arm lariat, but Frost ninja rolls again before doing a back handspring into a wheelbarrow. She successfully manages to get Catalina down with a head scissors takeover. Catalina tries to recover in the corner, but Frost is quick to pounce, and Catalina fights her off with a back elbow. Frost had not expected such a heavy blow and stumbles backwards. With more rage than sense, Lady Frost runs at Catalina again, but Catalina sidesteps her, and now Frost is in the corner. Catalina lays a hefty forearm to Lady Frost's chest before whipping her out of the corner. Frost manages to counter that and sends Catalina running to the corner instead. Frost is right behind her, but Catalina has the ring sensed and jumps to the bottom rope, springing upwards, completely avoiding Frost, who is now again between Catalina and the corner of the ring. Catalina hits Lady Frost with a forearm shot and then throws her out of the corner to the opposite side of the ring. Before Frost can recover, Catalina mows her down with a lariat. Frost gets up only to meet another lariat from the Lucha Lariat dynasty. Frost gets up for the third time and instantly gets hit with a drop kick from Catalina. You can see Frost is hurt, and Catalina tries to monopolize on this moment and goes for a pin. Frost is not out, though, and kicks out at 2. Catalina is like, "You're kidding, right?" and chastises the ref on what she perceived was a slow count. Frost is still down on the mat when Catalina grabs her head, pulls Frost into a sitting position, and puts her in a chokehold. Frost now has to get to her feet whilst having Catalina weighing her down and choking her out. Frost hasn't faded yet and fights hard to get to the bottom rope and breaks this potentially match-ending hold. Catalina is an honorable woman and releases the chokehold as soon as Frost grabs the ropes. The crowd claps approvingly. Catalina's kindness quickly turns to anger, though, as she brutally positions Lady Frost neck first on the middle rope. Not even Brett's healing rope of power can help Frost with this predicament. But Aubrey can, because this is illegal as fuck, and the ref makes Catalina release Frost. Catalina lets out a battle cry and runs to the rope for momentum, aiming straight at Frost, who is trying desperately to gain all the healing powers from the middle rope. Catalina literally butt bounces off of the back of Lady Frost's head, pushing her neck deep into the rope, the force of which catapults Frost to the center of the ring, and Catalina goes in for the pin. But it's just a 2 again. She is going to need to do more to keep Lady Frost down. Catalina adjusts her knee pads, gets to her feet, and helps Frost up by the head. Once again, Frost is sent to the corner, but it's now Frost who manages to bounces off the bottom rope. Catalina saw this coming and positioned herself so Lady Frost would land on her own shoulders instead of avoiding her completely. Lady Catalina looked like she was positioning Lady Frost for something devastating, but Frost is the queen of murder gymnastics. No. But Frost is the queen of murder gymnastics, and this wasn't as bad of a predicament for her to be in as Catalina thought. Frost quickly adjusts her positioning on Catalina's shoulders, flips forward, and rolls Catalina up in a teeny tiny small package. At 2, Catalina uses sheer strength to leg power her way out of the pin, and the two women once again meet in the center of the ring, staring at each other. Frost runs at Catalina and uses her agility to wrap her body around Catalina, pulling Catalina off balance and into another pin. Catalina was still able to kick out, though, and both women were back to their feet quickly. La Catalina goes to whip Frost, who reverses and sends Catalina into the ropes instead. Frost gets momentum from the ropes and plows through Catalina with a heavy-hitting running lariat. Catalina was not doing great after all that and needed to take some breaths on the mat, but she wasn't going to give up, though. Not now. Lady Frost was also feeling the effect of the match and took this moment to compose herself as well. Katarina thought she could get away with a breather in the corner, but Frost was quicker to recover and was already pumping up the crowd. Frost saw La Catalina had gone to the corner and raced over to her. Lady Frost got an assist from the bottom rope and sent a high kick straight to Catalina's jaw. Catalina still wasn't at full power and took the kick flush. La Catalina crumpled to the mat while Frost, now refreshed, sets herself up for a snowball fight, a devastating handspring into a cannonball. Katarina is like, what the actual fuck? And is dragged into a lying down position by her legs for the pin. The ref gets to 2, then Katarina roughly pushes Lady Frost off of her, getting her shoulder up before the ref could hit 3. Lady Frost takes a moment and then goes back on the attack, pushing La Katarina back down to the mat. Frost stomps down on Katarina, stamping her even further down into the mat. Lady Frost heads to the ring apron and this spurs Katarina to her feet. She tries to get Frost with a forearm, but Frost blocks it and pushes Katarina back. Stunned in the middle of the ring, Frost springboards into a crossbody slam straight into the pin. Ref Aubrey gets to 2 and Katarina kicks out still. Frost is super frustrated and Katarina is really hurting. The 2 women face each other again in the middle of the ring after slowly getting to their feet. They stand toe-to-toe with each other, exchanging heavy forearms. La Katarina tries to get the upper hand by sending an Uber Eats order of rapid-fire shots to Frost's chest. Thinking that Frost is down, La Katarina runs to the ropes for momentum. But Frost has sent the order back and met La Katarina at the ropes, giving her a stiff forearm to the chest. Frost runs to the opposite ropes, but this time it is La Katarina who is quick to catch up and gives Frost a stiff forearm of her own. Both seem to be thinking of the same thing because Katarina goes for the ropes and again Frost is on her tail right there to give Katarina another stiff lariat. Frost leans on her a little bit longer to make sure Katarina is going to stay there this time and turns to take a quick run up from the center of the ring. Katarina is more with it than Lady Frost thought, though, and Frost turned only to be greeted by Katarina's running knee. Frost takes it like a champ and gets to her feet with another battle cry. La Katarina cannot react in time, and Lady Frost gets her with a waistlock and powers her over her head for a German suplex. Both women are now down on the mat and take a moment to recover, each taking advantage of the other's exhaustion. Ref Aubrey tries to check on both women, but they are already planning the next move and pay her no attention. As they both get to their feet, it's Katarina who first tries to get the upper hand, but Lady Frost kicks off Katarina's leg from underneath her and Katarina goes down to one knee. She manages to duck a head kick, but gets hit with the second kick to the head from Frost. Frost cartwheels into the Chiller Driller, which is her spinning air raid crash, and dumps Katarina down to the mat. Lady Frost covers for the pin, but Katarina is still able to kick out before 3. After some small frustration, Frost is determined to get the win against Katarina, who happens to also have a title challenge against the Forever Champ Athena coming up soon. Frost heads to the top rope with a plan in mind. Katarina can see Frost is getting up to fly at her, and she struggles to get to her feet, but gets hit with a flying corkscrew and finds herself in another predicament of pinning situations. This enrages Katarina and she powers out of the pin at 1. Lady Frost is hurting now and is slow to get to her feet. Frost sees Katarina is resting in the corner and runs to attack her, but Frost failed to notice that Katarina had dropped both of her arms over Brett's healing rope of power and has managed to get enough health to avoid Frost's attack, and toe trips her face first into the middle turnbuckle. Katarina was inspired by the turn of events and slams Frost's face repeatedly into the turnbuckle a few more times. The ref couldn't let that go, though, and just as she was about to start counting to 5, Katarina screamed out another battle cry and stomped her way to the opposite corner. Katarina ran full force at Lady Frost and gave her a vicious hip attack to the back of Frost's head. Katarina gets into a deep squat and lifts Lady Frost onto her shoulders, bringing her to the center of the ring and drops her for an electric chair. Frost is planted to the mat while Katarina goes to the rope for a splash. Katarina came down heavy and pins Frost further into the mat. Frost is pinned so deep into the mat that she is unable to kick out, and Katarina gets the 3 count for the win. Even in victory, Katarina acknowledges how tough Lady Frost is. The 2 women shake it out in the ring, and Frost heads to the back while Katarina basks in her glory. After a bit, we are blessed by the champion herself, and she has some words of congratulations for Katarina. Whilst the champ's belt spins, Athena welcomes Katarina to the Athena World Tour. Then Lady Frost catches a stray when Athena refers to her as a little popsicle. Which is so silly, but really funny. The Forever Champ is looking great as she shows off her impressive multilingual talents and offers her some guidance on how shit is done around here at ROH. Frankly, Athena is fed up with women coming into ROH, not giving her the respect as they should, and then having the audacity to try and take her title away from her. I would be pissed too, frankly. With some parting words for Katarina, Athena, our Forever Champ exits stage right. And that is the end of our women's coverage for Ring of Honor. Stay tuned for next week where we see what the fuck happens after Revolution. Because they're at Revolution, right? I think it's at Revolution. I'm probably wrong. I could be wrong. Anyone could be wrong. Moving on. Alrighty. That was Ring of Honor. That concludes our current AEW and Ring of Honor shows that we're covering in Don't Call Me Diva. In this next part, I am going to take us all back to the first ever AEW pay-per-view in 2019, and it was called Double or Nothing. And the fucking thing is a banger. Go back and watch it. The crowd is fucking rabid. It's like they've never seen good fucking wrestling before. And it's like such a vibe. It really did bring back nostalgia. It's just so fun. And I am absolutely 100% grateful that Brandy Rhodes accompanies her husband to the ring, because that means I get to talk about something that's really fucking funny in hindsight now. I'm super stoked. So let's get into it, shall we? After we itch our nose. It's May 2019, and we are at AEW's first ever pay-per-view, and it's called Double or Nothing, as we have already gone over. The match we will be reviewing first is Nyla Rose versus Kylie Ray versus Dr. Britt Baker. D-O-D! But of course, this is before all of that. The fight is third on the card. Beforehand, we get a wonderful treat, and Ali, aka the Bunny, has joined the commentary team. Ali is looking gorgeous in a crimson dress with lace sleeves, and she is fucking pumped for this match to start. I had absolutely completely forgotten that Ali had been on commentary for this match, and I was super stoked to get this surprise. It was brilliant. She looks just so sweet and wholesome, all before the Bunny came along and tormented her mind. But I love the Bunny. Long live the Bunny. Thank you for your service. We hear a giggle, and it's Kylie Rae who comes to the ring first. Her entrance theme for AEW is called Happy Indie Rock by KLM Music. Kylie Rae bounds to the stage with a huge smile on her face in sunshine yellow and white. Smiley Kylie Rae races around the ring, giving high fives to everyone in the front row, while Ellie gushes about how awesome it is to see Kylie out here ready to fight. Right. Kylie does her signature ring entrance and slides full steam into the ring under the bottom rope face down, stopping perfectly in the middle of the ring, and does her little pose. Next to enter is the native beast Nyla Rose, who I absolutely fucking love. Nyla has her golden half skull mask on, a red sheer scarf over her head, kind of like a fashionable Taz, and a black leather vest over a light brown and blue one-piece battle outfit. Nyla stomps down to the ring, enters, then hits her pose, spraying water high into the air. It looks really fucking cool, and absolutely no one else in wrestling has ever done this before tonight. Ever. I can't think of any other wrestler who has walked to the ring, looked menacing, and then sprayed water out of their mouth. No one comes to mind. DMD's music hits, and out comes Dr. Britt Baker in a white jacket with cutouts on the sleeves and dentistry icons. Underneath, DMD is wearing a red wine two-piece with silver trim and decals. The doctor is very confident. Everyone's in the ring, but someone else's music hits. The commentary team are confused as to who this interruption could be, but Ellie seems to know. And soon we all get to see Mrs. Brandy Rhodes walk out of the tunnel with mic in hand, and she's dressed for battle. Brandy removes her jacket and is wearing a white one-piece with triangle cutouts lined with silver. Seems to be rather popular this evening. Underneath, Brandy is wearing a multicolored sparkly bra, which is kind of a little tacky. Like it kind of stands out, but I mean, hey, the woman can do whatever fashion she wants. So just to me, it just seemed a little bit like, who the fuck am I, right? It seems she truly has come down to fight. But how did Mrs. Rhodes get in this match? Brandy proceeds to cut a cryptic promo about wanting this match to be awesome, and fuck me sideways, Brandy isn't fighting in this match. Awesome Kong is here in AEW, and the crowd goes fucking nuts. Hell, I go fucking nuts. It's Awesome fucking Kong. Nice ruse, Mrs. Rhodes. And like, looking back on it now, I fully remember like the excitement like building up in me when I realized that it was Awesome Kong coming out, because I hadn't fucking seen her fight in ages. I think TNA was the last match I saw her in, and I just thought she was fucking brilliant, like so fucking cool. Kong is looking fine as fuck in black leather. No one in the ring is excited about this addition to the match, except Smiley Kylie, who seems to have gone through a number of emotions in 5 seconds before landing back on positivity and starts to cheer for Awesome Kong as Kong and Brandy walk down to the ring. Apparently, this is all legit, and our 3-way is now a fatal 4-way. Awesome Kong's entrance music in AEW is 8 million ways, and it's a banger, to be honest. I can't get it out of my mouth, but it's a banger. Nyla and Awesome Kong haven't taken their eyes off each other. All 3 women dogpile onto Awesome Kong, but she easily fights them off. Rose steps up, but is eventually sent through the ropes to the outside. While DMD and Ray try desperately to overpower Kong, it's not achievable, and both go flying in opposite directions. Kong runs at Dr. Britt Baker, who manages to pull down the top rope quickly, causing Kong to fall to the outside with a massive thud. Smiley Kylie tries to get a sneaky quick pin on the doctor, but she's like, yeah, nah, and kicks out at 2. Kylie does her power pose, and the 2 women start to try and take each other down. DMD would be the one to get the pin on Ray, but Kylie kicked out with a vengeance at 2. Dr. Britt Baker decided to try out Kylie's power pose for herself, but it didn't seem to have the same effect on her. I think she was doing it a little wrong, to be honest. It is one-on-one for a while between Dr. Britt Baker and Ray. DMD has been doing good work keeping Awesome Kong and Nyla Rose on the ground while they lock up. DMD fucks up though when she goes to splash Kong on the outside because Kong is just able to yoink her out of the air and stops all of her momentum. Ray has been watching this all go down and flies at Awesome Kong, who is still holding Dr. Britt Baker, and she gets both of them down with a tope suicida. Suicida. Brandy's like, damn, that was cool, and we get a nice little replay. Ooh, that also brings to mind, like literally just now, when AEW first started doing Dynamite and shit, those cunts were the stingiest motherfuckers with replays. I'm like, where is my replays? Like, hello? Don't make me like stop the show and like rewind. What if I'm watching like live? Oh, and this brings me to another sidebar. Triller TV, sort your fucking shit out with the app, because every time I go to like whoopity whoop around and like skip through like the little things, you like glitch out, take me backwards, do this weird like little repeaty thing, and it's like, come on, simmer. All right? Okay, sorry, completely off track. But AEW now are much better with their replays, I have to say. Thank you very much. Rant over. Nyla Rose was the only one to escape the tope and tried to take advantage by targeting Smiley Kylie Ray. Nyla pins Ray, but Kylie kicks out. After some more fight from Kylie, the Native Beast does an amazing spine buster on her, but it is not enough to get the 3 count. Kylie is hard to keep down. Baker's back, not Baker's back, like her actual back, like her physical self is back in the ring and runs at Nyla for a sling blade that absolutely connects. Goes for the pin, but is unsuccessful. DMD clocks Awesome Kong, who is trying to get back into the ring again, and Kong tumbles back down to the mats outside. Smart move, but Nyla just comes in and destroys Baker with a flurry of power moves. Once Nyla is done with Baker, she pushes her out of the ring with her boot. Kylie Ray now finds herself in serious trouble, and Rose puts the smiling one onto her shoulders. Ray does an excellent shimmy though and ninja rolls Nyla into a pin. Baker has to throw herself onto them to break it up even. Everyone in the ring is down. Awesome Kong is still nowhere to be seen. Nyla gets to her feet first and jumps up to the top turnbuckle. DMD, seeing what's about to happen, leaps to her feet and starts laying forearms into Nyla. Smiley Kylie finally gets up and she joins Baker on the onslaught to Rose. What both of them hadn't realized, though, was that Awesome Kong had finally gotten to her feet and she was now in the ring with all 3 of them. While Ray and Baker are standing on the bottom rope, busy with Nyla trying to get her into the perfect position to what looks like was going to be a massive suplex off the middle rope, Awesome Kong slips underneath Baker and Ray, pulling all 3 women into one giant powerbomb and rocks the whole arena. The crowd has gone bazonkers. Awesome batters DMD on the outside for a while before getting her up onto the apron, threatening to put Baker through the ring with an awesome bomb. DMD successfully wriggles out of danger and super kicks Kong to the floor, who then is immediately speared into the steel steps by Nyla. Both women are just dead on the floor now. It was a vicious spear by Nyla. She just fucking came out of nowhere and just badunk. It's awesome. Now it's just Ray and Baker left in the ring. Baker tries a cheeky roll-up but is denied when Ray kicks out at 2. Both women then ramp up and it's a flurry of offense with neither woman being able to get the upper hand. Baker gets a great spinning lariat shot to Kylie's face and she's hindered enough for DMD to get a nice little swinging neck breaker and pins Ray to the mat. Ray is not out though and powers out at 2. But fuck, it was close. After a small breather, Baker runs at Kylie again, who is just getting to her feet. After a beautiful block by Kylie Ray, though, she pulls off an insanely impressive power move and she deadlifts Baker over her head for an impressive German suplex into a pin. Baker is high on her shoulders, and it's the leverage that allows her to get out of the pin before 3. But that was also a real close one. After feeding off the super loud crowd, Kylie full steams it at DMD, who delivers a super kick so powerful that it knocks Kylie's bow right out of her hair. Britt then gets Kylie up for an ushigoroshi, which is where you have your opponent upside down with their head in the crook of your elbow and their body is straight up. You then bring your opponent down so that the impact of the move is on their head, neck, and shoulder area while it crashes down onto your awaiting knee. Pin, nope. Baker pins a delirious Ray. 1, 2, and 3, and we have our first ever AEW women's match winner. Future world title holder, Dr. DMD. Brandy is pissed. Nyla and Kong never had a chance to get back into the ring after that insane fucking spear. So next up, we have another exciting match that I'm looking forward to, and it is the 6-man tag. I had completely forgotten that this was even on the card when I was remembering back. I actually thought that this match was on the next pay-per-view, but I was told. So this one involves all the Joshi. Riho and Hikaru Shida end up wrestling in AEW quite often. We had Ryo Mizunami on Dark a lot. Her and Layla Hirsch even teamed up a couple of times, and I was in heaven because I personally think that Layla Hirsch and Ryo made a fucking amazing tag team. Like, their strength and style and also like their personality like really complemented each other. Like, Ryo reminds me of if Yano and Okada had a baby and it was Ryo Mizunami. Yeah, it was really, really fucking cool. But I think COVID fucked that up and like Ryo had to go back. Couldn't like travel back to the US much or something. I don't actually know why we didn't actually see much of her, and I haven't actually looked into that because this is purely just me rambling on right now. But yeah, I'm interested to find out. Hey, if you know, or if you think you know, leave it in the comments. Just don't be a fuckhead. Okay, back to the match. So, first out, it is Riho. And she comes out with her 2 belts because at this time, Riho was the Asia Dream Tag Champion with Makoto, and she was also the Super Asia Champion. Her teammates are, as I said, Ryo Mizunami and Hikaru Shida. And as I said, they are both fucking awesome. They are facing the Magical Girl, who is the Tokyo Princess Tag Team Champion with Mizuki at the time. Yuka is so freaking cool and very tough. Next out are 2 absolute fucking legends. Emi Sakura comes out in her Freddie Mercury gear, topped off with an excellent mustache. And then Asa Kong stomps out to the stage, bringing with her the feeling of impending doom to all of her opponents. Emi Sakura has trained multiple champions as well as being one herself many times. It just so happens that she is facing one of her students tonight in Shida. Hikaru Shida and Yuka Sakazaki are first to face off. Both women are very fast, but Yuka has a cheeky streak and is able to get a few sneaky shots in. They both tag out, and the 2 powerhouses from each team, Aja Kong and Ryo, size each other up and then engage in combat. Both women are insanely strong, but Asa, with her experience, was able to get the upper hand on Ryo. Ryo goes, fuck this, and tags in Riho, the teeny tiny Riho. Now, Riho is tough and would have absolutely have gone toe-to-toe with Asa Kong, but Asa decided that it was now Emi's time to play. Emi and Riho engaged in a test of strength. Emi bends Riho backwards into a bridge, but Riho holds her body up, refusing to go down to the mat. Even when Emi climbs onto Riho, Riho is still able to hold her bridge pose. It's Riho that gets the first pin attempt after a beautiful crucifix that she used to swing around Emmy and then drag her down to the mat for the pin. Emmy can kick out though and goes to her corner to tag in a very hyped Yuka. The pace then ramps up to level 10 with Yuka flying at Riho from the top rope. Both women have counters up the wazoo, and it's hard for either of them to get the upper hand, but it's beautiful to watch them try. Yuki gets Riho down for a pin, but Riho pulls another trick out of her ass and bridges out of the pin at 2. Yuka tags in Emmy, and Emmy goes hard on the attack, using her experience and strength to beat down on a hurting Riho. Emmy, Aza, and Yuka might not tag with each other usually, but they are doing a great job of isolating Riho from her tag partners. Hikaru Shida and Ryo Mizunami can only shout encouragement from their corner. Emma tags in Azakong, and you can see that she is looking forward to administering some pain onto Riho. As the crowd chants, "This is wrestling," in appreciation, Azakong delivers a sick as fuck kick to Riho's back, which echoes around the packed arena, and everyone, including myself, wince in sympathy. Aza is having the best time right now. Somehow, Riho is still able to move though, and attempts to fight off Kong. But it's not long before Riho is back on the mat after a nasty pile driver, looking up at Kong as she comes crashing down on her with a heavy elbow. Yuka and Emmy have entered the ring and are trying to hold Shida and Mizunami back from making the save, but both women are able to get free of them and they break up the pin, saving Riho, angering Kong. The crowd are both happy, but they are also really concerned as now Riho has to try and fight through Azakong to make a tag. Luckily for Riho, Kong tags out to Yuka, but Yuka goes straight for the pin and Riho has to exert more energy to kick back out. Yuka goes for another pin, but this time Riho kicks out a little stronger. Yuka grabs Riho by the head, but before Yuka can do anything, Riho wraps her legs around Sakazaki's waist, ninja rolls forward to bring Yuka down to the mat, and then springs up to deliver a heavy double stomp to Yuka's gut. Riho races to her corner for the tag, and Ryo is in. Ryo shoulder tackles through Yuka, stops Emmy in her tracks, and shoulder tackles her to the mat. Azakong is in, and Ryo shoulder tackles her as well, but Kong absorbs it and hits Sui. And the hit does... Oh, shit, no. Azakong is in, and Ryo shoulder tackles her as well, but Kong absorbs the hit and doesn't go down. Aza slaps Ryo in the face, and before Mizunami's eyes can refocus, Aza has control of Ryo's left arm and is calling upon Yuka for some help. Both women whip Ryo to the opposite ropes. Ryo bounces back, and as Yuka and Kong attempt to take her down with a double clothesline, Mizunami ducks under and pushes Aza into Yuka. Ryo delivers a devastating spear to Azakong, who has to roll out of the ring to recover. Ryo is fresh and she is ready to dish out some punishment. Yuka gets hit with what must feel like a million sharp chops to the chest while Yuka leans against the turnbuckle for support. Ryo then wants to see what she looks like in the opposite corner and whips her into it. While Yuka tries to remember how to breathe, Ryo whips the crowd into a frenzy and starts to pull in the strength from their cheers. Sufficiently full, Ryo runs full steam into Yuka, forcing all the air she has been trying to regain back out of her. After taking a water wheel suplex followed by a lariat off the ropes, Yuka was like, "Fuck this," and scrambles to her corner. Hoping one of them would tag in, Kong makes the tag on her side as Riho tags in from the opposite side. Riho regains health back so quickly that she runs straight at Aja Kong with zero fear. Riho flies at Kong and whips her onto Brett's healing rope of power, which, unknown to Riho, was a big mistake. Because even though Riho caught Kong square in the face with a 619, Kong has been gaining health while resting on that middle rope and was able to kick Riho out of the air as Riho was flying at her from the top rope. Riho hits the deck like a sack of spuds. Azakong lifts Riho up by the hair, and she must have planned something with Emmy on the outside before she tagged in, because as soon as she does this, Emmy and Yuka run to their opponent's corner to hold them back once again. Aza hits Riho with a goddamn nasty-looking backdrop driver. When you watch this match, you will see why Riho is so fucking good, because this woman is made out of liquid metal and she is like the size of a toothpick. With her teammates being held back, Aza puts Riho in a pin, but Riho is so indestructible and she throws her entire body into the kick out and gets out at motherfucking 2. Serves Kong right for the lax cover, to be perfectly honest. Hikaru Shida and Yuka are fighting on the outside. Ryo's been hit with a few stiff shots from Emi. Riho's still laying on the mat, so Aza Kong decides to head to the top rope for a self-backdrop elbow. But all she finds is the mat, as Riho's managed to roll out of the way. Riho can finally make a tag and find Shida ready and waiting on the apron. Shida instantly starts attacking Kong, but it's tough to get the upper hand. Shida finally does get the upper hand with a step-up enziguri, but has her momentum taken away by a kick from Emi as she bounces off the ropes. Ref Aubrey has caught Emi in the act and reprimands her for her illegal interference. While the ref is distracted, the Oni in the sweet girl skin, Yuka Sakazaki, throws the metal bin that Kong had brought with her to the ring to Kong and motions to Kong to bash Shida's skull in with it. Kong loves this idea and goes to do it, but thankfully for Shida, she sees the blow coming and is quick enough to scoot to the corner where her trusty kendo stick lays. Now, armed herself, Shida squares up to Kong. Kong raises her weapon and the two clash together in the ring. Ref Aubrey is far too busy arguing with Ryo and Emi to notice that the match she was officiating had suddenly gone rogue and became a hardcore match behind her, and multiple weapon shots were taken by both competitors, ending with Shida taking a sickening headshot from Kong with the metal bin, and Shida hits the fucking deck. Ref Aubrey is still completely oblivious. I would check her pockets after the match for cash if I was you. I bet there's a few 20s that were stuffed in there. Aza Kong makes the tag to Emi and Aubrey yells, "Tag!" like everything's still legal, and Shida is not currently lying face down dead in the middle of the ring. Emi ramps up the crowd with her we will rock you stomp, which brings Shida back to life, and Hikaru attempts to get to her feet. While the entire arena rumbles with stomps of everyone in the attendance, Shida crawls to the ropes and tries to catch some breath on the corner. Unfortunately, though, Hikaru Shida doesn't know about Brett's healing rope of power, and she's leaning on the bottom rope instead. Emi runs at Shida and gives her a stiff body press. Shida crumples to the mat, but Emi's not done. Sakura pulls Hikaru up in a double underhook backbreaker. The strength, the experience, and the knowledge of Emi Sakura makes her so fucking difficult to beat. But this just seems to piss Shida off instead of taking her out, as Sakura had planned, and Shida gets to her feet and hits Emi square in the chest with a nasty forearm. Emi responds with a heavy forearm of her own, and the two women exchange brutal blows on one another until Shida gets the upper hand by giving Emi a knee to the face, as Emi had run at Shida full speed. Emi briefly finds solace on Brett's healing rope of power, but Riho knows what's up and quickly runs to the ring to deliver a hip attack to the back of Emi's head, bouncing Emi off the middle rope as she rolls to the apron. Riho and Shida take out Kong and Yuka, making them both unable to assist Emi anymore. Shida drags Emi to the corner and climbs the ropes on the inside. Emi thinks if she puts a foot on the bottom rope that she might be able to stop Shida's attack, but Hikaru leans down, grabs Sakura by the waist, and suplexes Emi over her head, bringing Sakura crashing down into the mat into the center of the ring. Ryo gets involved and delivers a guillotine leg drop onto Sakura from the top rope. Shida goes for the pin, but Yuka has been able to recover and springboards off the top rope into the ring and breaks up the pin, saving Emi from the defeat. Riho comes running in, pissed, and Yuka's like, "Oh shit, don't hurt me," but still gets a jumping knee strike to the face from Riho. Aza Kong is back in the ring and slaps the living shit out of Riho. Ryo's here to help Riho out, and they both set up Kong for a suplex. But Aza Kong denies them the pleasure and instead does a double suplex, and both Riho and Ryo go flying out of the ring to the outside. The magical Oni girl makes sure they both stay there and flies at them with a big splash from the to the outside. Both Riho and Mizunami crumble underneath Yuka. That leaves only Shida in the ring with Emi and Aza. Shida gets taken out with a brainbuster from Kong, and a limp Shida gets positioned in the ring by Emi. Emi gets up to the top rope and performs a diving, rounding body press to Shida and pins Shida to the mat. The ref counts the pin, but somehow Shida still manages to kick out at 2. Now this is where we really get to find out where the bribe money went. Even though the ref clearly hadn't counted to 3, we still hear the ring bell go, signifying that the match had been won, but it clearly had not been. Ref Aubrey stood her ground against Emi Sakura and the corrupt bell person, denying them of the 3 count they tried to swindle. Even the sound person got confused, but Ref Aubrey was not. She made the count. She was the closest to the action. Her word is law. The crowd starts to call out the bell ringer, calling them out for their attempted deception. Kong can't believe it didn't work, and Emi is pissed. Kong can't believe it didn't work, and Emi is pissed and manhandles Shida while holding onto Shida's hair. Aza Kong signals to Emi Sakura to hold Shida ready as Kong winds up for a spinning back fist. Shida sacrifices some hair and ducks out of the way, causing Kong to hit Emi instead. Riha flies at Aza Kong, taking her out. Then Shida makes her final move and runs at Emi Sakura, catching her stiff with the tamashi. 1, 2, 3, and now we have our victors. Hikaru Shida, Ryo Mizunami, and Riho actually win the match. I had totally forgot that had happened in that pay-per-view. And like I said before, that was what I had thought had happened at the next pay-per-view. That is also what made Ref Aubrey legendary. From that moment onwards, she was over as fuck with the crowd and has gotten the respect from every single sicko. And we fucking love her. From that was the moment. We were all like, fuck, like that could have fucked up that finish. But because Ref Aubrey like stayed stern and like was like, no, this is not happening. The crowd actually could feel that from her. They weren't like completely distracted by their own participation and fucking saying that this is bullshit. And they like fully responded to be like, oh, fucking shit. Like, yeah, fucking Aubrey's word is law, man. Fucking y'all all fucked up. That wasn't anyone in the ring's fault. That was purely a you problem. So, yeah, legendary fucking moment in women's wrestling of AEW. So this is the moment that I was referring to at the beginning, that I was really, really stoked that we got to see Brandy Rose again. And I get to now tell you why. So we get to see Brandy Rose again when she comes out to the ring with her husband. There is a familiar looking throne on the entrance ramp for some reason, and the Rhodes stop and stare at it. For a moment, Cody goes up to it and takes a closer look at this throne, which has skulls on top of it. Slightly familiar, maybe? Perhaps checking to see if a certain Tra has left a contract hidden under there, maybe. It wasn't. And the Rhodes turn away from the throne, seemingly bored by it, and walk down to the ring. Brandy Rose walks with purpose, and when they both get to the ring, after unzipping her husband, Mrs. Rhodes goes and grabs something from underneath it. Brandy then hands to her husband a big old sledgehammer. And the crowd literally jizz in their pants. Cody Rhodes walks back up to the ramp with absolute purpose now. Straight to that throne, and after a dramatic pause, He raises the sledgehammer above his head and smashes it down onto the throne. The crowd goes fucking wild, and there is nothing cryptic about that at all. Dustin Rhodes then comes down to the ring, and the brothers proceed to have a fantastic fucking fight. That fucking fight is legendary. It really, really fucking is. It was just so goddamn good. The storytelling, it's absolutely amazing. Fucking Dustin ends up pissing with blood. And by the end of it, like, they take you on such a fucking journey. You're exhausted, but that's men's wrestling. Fuck men's wrestling. But the whole fucking pay-per-view is at level 10, okay? It's really fucking good. One point during the match, though, Brandy did get involved while Dustin was blinded on the outside, and she takes him out with a nasty fucking spear because that was her little finishing move. But the ref totally saw it and told Mrs. Rose to get the fuck out of here. But she wasn't going anywhere. And as I have recently been told, heels are like, what's the word? What's the word am I trying to think of? They are immune to the ref sending them to the back unless they power up with their little spinny arm move. Then the heel is pushed to the back. But this particular ref, who I am not going to mention by name, doesn't do this for some reason. And Brandy ain't fucking going nowhere. She's like standing her ground. She's like smack talking the ref. She's like, fuck no. So a wild Diamond Dallas Page inserts himself into the situation, yoinks Brandy onto his shoulders, and takes her backstage. And that is the last that we see of Mrs. Rhodes in this pay-per-view. I don't think she comes out at the end. Yeah, no, she doesn't. It's just this whole, oh my God, did you just murder your brother kind of moment, and the ring is covered with blood, and it's fucking cool. It's a great fucking pay-per-view. Really is. Bravo. And that was the first time we see AEW programming. It's really fun to watch because it's also slightly different than how they do things now. Like, you can see like, oh yeah, there's like some production things that aren't quite as on point, especially when you come from something as overly produced as WWE stuff was, especially when I was watching it. The WWE was still doing that really awesome thing of like physically moving the camera backwards and forwards, like forward and back. It fucked me off. Fucking hell. Another WWE rant. They used to fucking like cut edits like all the time, like bang, 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 bang. It's like, fucking just let the fucking match breathe. Anyway, so yeah, so it's been really awesome to watch AEW's production side also grow to what it fucking is now. Like, Jesus fucking Christ, the promo posters for like 2025 are just mwah. There are things of absolute fucking glory. Like the stuff that they made for the Toni Storm Mariah May match at Grand Slam Oz is fucking stunning. I think some of our sickos even got it for themselves. And I mean, I myself was also very, very tempted, but shipping works like a whore to get things over here, so I didn't. But don't be discouraged, AEW. Keep doing that, and then yeah, make them available for the sickos, even if it is for a limited time, because that shit's fucking cool. All right, we are now going to have a little chat about one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, Lita. When I first saw Lita in WWE, it was after she had done her stuff with sorry, what's his name again? Ethos, and they had done some really cool stuff with Eddie Guerrero and China, which I hadn't been aware of. So it was really fun to like look back and look at some of that stuff. They had a really cool little rivalry This era is also my favorite era of China. I think I may have mentioned that before. I'm not too sure, but I fucking love her and Eddie Guerrero together. The way Eddie Guerrero like looks at China when they come out to the stage, like, oh my god, like get yourself a man who looks at you the way Eddie Guerrero looks at China. Like that was his mamacita. That was just fucking wholesome as shit, and I loved it. As I mean, I say wholesome as shit as he walks down in his fabulous vagina t-shirt, which if anyone finds in the wild, please let me know because I fucking need that in my life. But yeah, I mean, she was like, she looked great. She looked like she was having fun. They did really, really good work, and her and when her and Eddie and Lita and Eos kind of like teamed up together, I mean, that was like the opening for something that would have been really amazing. Like I got fully distracted when I got to this part of like thinking like what kind of cool name would have Lita and China like been if they were like a tag team. And so I was thinking about it for a little bit, and I came up with like some for myself, I should say, and I also like put it out to Sickos and Sickos Club. By the way, sickosclub.com. Go and join the fun. They have some cool fucking shit over there. It's amazing. I love them. Shout out Sickos. Love you all. And I came up with leather luchadors from China's leather and Lita's background as a luchadora. I thought leather luchadoras would have been cool. And it kind of like rolls off the tongue a bit. Babes with the Power, I thought was cool. And one that kind of made me chuckle was Extreme Mamacitas. I also came up with a joke WWE piss take answer. Because they're so shit at naming fucking tag teams when they put two wrestlers together, and I came up with something called the China and Lita Collective. Fucking lame as fuck. My wonderful sickos came up with some great stuff. We got Extreme Wonders mentioned twice. That was a real winner. The Lucha Girls, which I thought was sweet, though not really girls. They're very much women. The Ninth Wonders or the 10th Wonders. I thought the 10th Wonders would be a little bit more appropriate because, China is already the 9th wonder. Adding Lita in there would, add a 10th, but then I guess they both would be, and be the 10th and 9th. Anyway, I'm thinking too much into it. And we also have, a cheeky one. And this is going to bring me to my parting rant later on after this, but we got Cheetah Girls. I don't need to explain more. And then we also got More Than Extreme, which I thought was cool because that adds in Lita's time with the Hardy Boys, and also China's theme tune, which was like More Than a Woman at some point when she was doing stuff against Ivory. So how? This brings me to what I want to talk about now. I originally wanted to waffle on about Lita's achievements and all this kind of stuff. I was going to mention a lot more about her coming into WWE. I did not realize that she had started her career as Angelica in CMLL. I thought that was really fucking cool. And I also didn't realize that she had been in ECW for a little while. It was someone from ECW who I don't mention that sent WWE like a little like promo reel of Lita's stuff, and they were like, fuck yeah. And they brought her over, which, is extremely smart because she blew my mind away. I had come back to wrestling when she was, I think, already with the Hardy Boys. And because I love the Hardy Boys, having like a Hardy Boy-esque like woman with them was just like fucking heaven to me. And she had that really cool red hair. It was the color that I really wanted to dye my hair at the time. She wore like the real like Y2K kind of clothes. She didn't give a fuck about getting physical in the ring. She had her G-string of power. It was like unstoppable. Like she was absolutely unstoppable. Like when she first hit like a Hurricane Runner onto I can't remember who it was, but it was some dude. I was like, holy shit, she fucking took out a guy. This is what we're talking about. Yeah, I was really, really super stoked. And like I was dreaming of like what this would like form into, it's like, yeah, fucking more women like China and Ivory and Lita and all that kind of shit. Like, yeah, let's really go. And Jacqueline, and I think Luna had gone by then, and even I think Jacqueline, actually I'm not quite too sure. I can't quite remember when Jacqueline left WWE. But yeah, I was really, really looking forward to like more momentum of that kind of stuff. Like she really, really fucking good. And I'm kind of in a way, I'm kind of annoyed that I want to address this instead of deep diving into some of her matches, but they're all out there. You've really all got to go watch them. It would be really, really fun, like later on in like another episode to like come back to Lita, like maybe with like a guest. I have, someone in mind who I know is listening to this right now who's a big Lita fan. We could have like a nice fun little chat and like get real in depth about her matches and stuff. But I need to get this off my chest right now. Okay, this is fucking serious, and I believe in this wholeheartedly. Talk to anyone about Lita. Mention anything about Lita in 2025, and without fucking doubt, one of the top 5 things that will get mentioned is her cheating on Matt Hardy with Edge. Edge was cheating as well. I do want to point out though that the difference between Lita's cheating and Edge's cheating is that Edge was cheating on his wife. He was married to Val Venus's sister, and Matt Hardy and Lita were just boyfriend and girlfriend. Not saying that there's anything less of a commitment in there, but Edge cheated on his wife. Now, I'm not saying let's all go pound. Yeah, let's not go all pound on Cope, because that was also, but let's just keep that in mind, okay? Not saying that makes anything any better, because cheating is a fucking cunt hole thing to do. But it was only Lita that was getting publicly dogged about it. Even in the storyline, it was all Lita's fault in storyline. It was all about Lita's betrayal and Edge's betrayal of his friendship with Matt Hardy. I mean, I can't remember if like the Brood and I don't think the Brood and the Hardys were like on the same page or anything. I think they were still rivals. So yeah, I don't, but people were still talking about like the fact that there was like a real life friendship going on, and brought it into the storyline. And it was only ever Lita. Lita has had to live out the rest of her fucking iconic career with people constantly bringing up the fact that she's a cheater. She cheated. She's not a cheater, but she cheated on someone that you don't fucking know, apart from on a television fucking show. It was between the two of them. Your heart didn't get broken. Why are you feeling so good about dogging Lita and calling her a slut, yet Edge got away completely scot-free? Not saying that dogging on people is something that you have to do. I am trying to clearly state the double-sidedness of this bullshit. And people still don't let it go to this day. Like I said, like in 2025, people are still bringing up, that leader cheated on Matt Hardy. Yes, hearts were fucking broken, but 2 hearts were fucking broken. And an amazing goddamn storyline came out of it as well. I mean, apart from that fucking live sex show in the middle of the ring, what the fuck was that? That was a bit wrong. Ugh. I mean, even I was like, oh god, guys, like, put it away. I really don't want to see Lita and Edge get all blah, 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 blah. Yee. Was not cool. They were very tonguey. Not nice. But yeah, that really, really fucks me off. That still is a high thing in people's minds today. I mean, I guess like now I'm sitting on it like as no, I'm not even gonna go down that fucking that little path. We're closing the gate on that path. I am going to get into the point that I really, really wanted to put into perspective for everybody. Okay. This affected me as well, as I was also a big fan. And I'm not saying that people need to be, I mean, basically, this is what I'm not saying. People don't need to be blackballed by their yeah, let's go with that. By their mistakes or anything like that in their past. If they're just, mistakes, like we all make mistakes, And this brings me to this, okay? This is not a mistake. This thing was not a mistake. This act had happened before, and it happened again. And the wrestling fans just seem to completely ignore it and not bring it up multiple times. But I'm going to. Stone Cold Steve Austin is a man who ran from the cops for 2 months after being charged with beating his wife, Deborah. Little tiny Deborah. Massive Stone Cold Steve Austin. When he went to court, Stone Cold pled no contest to the misdemeanor charge of beating his wife, Deborah. He only got 80 hours of community service and a $1,000 fine and probation. Stone Cold Steve Austin was quoted as saying, "It's kind of been a drag, but it's over." He is fucking beloved. A man who in real life laid hands on a woman. I fucking loved Stone Cold Steve Austin as a kid. He was my fucking like all time, like, oh, I fucking loved him. I had the t-shirt. I went nanas. Like, he was the best. He was the best thing in my mind that had happened to wrestling. But as soon as I found this out and fact-checked it, that all went away. Every single inch of that went completely out of my head. And I can no longer look at him and not think of tiny fucking Deborah with a visible welt underneath her eye after being physically assaulted by a professional fucking wrestler, Stone Cold Steve Austin, who knows better and knows how to hurt people. She's a fucking tiny woman. What on earth could she have said to you that made you think that hitting her was appropriate, and then you fucking run? You don't even take accountability for it. You run. I don't care if drugs or alcohol are involved. I have been on drugs and alcohol a million times. People have said shit to me that has pissed me off, but I have never fucking hit anybody. Wow. That got heated. I got really mad about that. Whew. But that's what I wanted to say. I'm sorry to leave I'm sorry to leave this on a serious note, but that really does pisses me off. And I'm here to talk about the women of wrestling. And I wanted to talk about the injustices of the women of wrestling, especially to the women of wrestling from back in the Attitude Era and beyond before and all that kind of shit. So yeah, that's all I have to say about that. Like I said, I would love to come back to Lita and talk about all of her awesome achievements and stuff. And we will, now that I've got that out of the way. I just really wanted to make that a fucking, I just really wanted to make that point clear that I will not be standing for any more fucking double standards of this. That just won't be appropriate here. If you have different opinions, that's up to you, but no, this is what I think of you. I'm allowed to think of you that way, just like you're allowed to think about anything your way, but know that I think you're a sack of shit. Like, really? Okay? Okay. We'll lighten the mood up a little bit now. Okay, everyone. Now that we've got all that serious stuff out of the way, I really hope you've enjoyed this episode of Don't Call Me Diva. I had a fuck ton of fun putting everything together and then talking about it with you. Like putting my little asides in there and everything. It's a hell of a lot of fun. I really do love doing this. Revolution, March 9th, people. Let's get to it. Excuse me. You can watch the pre-show on YouTube. There's like a whole bunch of like rundown and stuff. So if like you're not like up on what's happening or anything like that, they fill you in on everything. You get to see the wrestling aunties, RJ City and Renee Paquette. You will probably have to put up with Double J. I'm sorry, that's not my that's I have no control over that, so apologies for that, but we all just have to sit through that. It's all good. They usually have like really good matches on 0 Hour as well. So just because it's on YouTube doesn't mean it's worth skipping at all. It's really, really great. And a good way to like kind of like also see if this is your first time thinking about buying a pay-per-view, whether or not you want to or not. I recommend it though. It is really going to be fucking cool. There are a whole bunch of matches that I'm not talking about because we're just talking about the women's stuff here. But if we literally just look at the women's stuff that we have coming up, it's gonna be amazing. Like Momo Watanabe and Mercedes Moné is just gonna be whoa. I mean, I'm hyping it up, but that's because I already know that it's just gonna be fucking cool. I really cannot wait for you all to see what these two are going to get up to in the ring. And then we have Timeless versus the Woman from Hell. What kind of Woman from Hell are we going to get? What is, what's Tony's state going to be in? Like, what the flying fuck is going to happen? Like, anything could happen. Is this the end? Is this the actual Hollywood ending? Are we going to get a sequel? Are we in the sequel? Fuck, who knows? But anyway, everyone, go get ramped up for Revolution. Talk about it. Join Sickos Club. Meet us on Threads. Hit me up. Bix_Bastet at Threads. We can have a fun time and talk shit. And yeah, commit to the bit. It's always fun. Enjoy. I'll see you next week. And coming up, people, we have an exciting little interview coming up. So keep your little ears out for that one. So goodbye, everyone. See you next time. And take care.
I'm gonna fuck you up.
We want Mina.
Mamacita.
Thank you, Trish.